Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is arguably one of the greatest modern animated films ever released, one that has surely gotten to be appreciated in this day and age for completely redefining what a spin-off sequel is capable of doing. It did not settle for being just another standard fairy tale adventure. Instead, it delivered a profound, mature cinematic experience. And so today, I finally mustered the courage to talk about this film in more detail, starting out with something I probably spend too much time talking about pertaining to villains because of how terrifyingly perfect he really was. Of course, that means I'm mentioning death, and I don't mean that metaphorically, I mean the literal manifestation of death. In a film packed with colorful characters and magical MacGuffins, death fulfills a purpose so utterly unique that it completely elevates the medium. Much like how John Silver was the ultimate father figure antagonist, death is the ultimate unavoidable mirror to our protagonist. He is probably one of the most diverse, unique, and layered antagonists that DreamWorks has ever produced because he combines several brilliant traits. He is a horror movie slasher, an unstoppable force of nature, and in a twisted sense, the most necessary teacher our hero could have ever asked for. This is something you cannot say a lot of animated villains ever do, being in the minority that actually win by achieving their thematic goal without ever being traditionally defeated in the ways you normally expect. One of the unique facts about him is how his visual design perfectly contrasts the world around him. In a film bursting with vibrant, painterly, almost storybook-like colors and hyperkinetic action, death is stripped down to the terrifying basics. He is a towering, ghostly white wolf with piercing, blood-red eyes, armed with dual sickles. This is important to explore about his character because he represents the cold, unavoidable reality colliding with Puss's warm, colorful, and careless fairy tale life. There is no elaborate armor, no magical glowing powers, just the stark, grim reality of the end. When you realize this, the movie becomes something more special that deserves such appreciation for its unique approach to such a familiar, well-known hero. Because when you understand what the story is about, you understand that Puss is an arrogant legend who sought thrills out of his life without ever considering the consequences. He had 9 lives to burn, and he treated them like cheap parlor tricks. A thing the film explores deeply is how Puss used his extra lives to escape the responsibility of being vulnerable. He laughed in the face of mortality. He didn't care about the collateral damage, the people he left behind, or the sheer gift of being alive. So when death comes into the plot, it changes Puss's luck from a fun adventure into a desperate fight for survival. This shift is the true driving factor of the plot. More than any wishing star or magical treasure, it is in fact the first moment we get to meet death, sitting quietly in the shadows of a local cantina. Of course, Puss doesn't take him seriously at first. Puss suspects him to be just another bounty hunter looking to make a quick buck, and thus tries to mock him, treating him like the countless other goons he's defeated. This part of the film is to sell you on the fact that the legend of Puss in Boots is finally facing something real. Death doesn't just block Puss's attacks, he disarms him effortlessly. And then he does the unthinkable. He draws blood. A tiny drop of blood on Puss's forehead. That is the exact moment things actually start to change in Puss. The fearless hero feels fear for the very first time. His hair stands on end, his heart pounds through his chest, and he runs. Death isn't just after a bounty, he is after Puss's hubris. He is actively disgusted by the fact that Puss wasted 8 lives on frivolous, arrogant stunts, like getting crushed by a bell or burning up baking, while mortals only get 1. This dedication to breaking the hero shapes the entire middle act of the film. Death is trying to work the cat to his absolute psychological breaking point. Every single time he appears, the stakes rise. You see Death in the background of the crowd. You hear the whistle in the dark forest. He is always present, never losing sight of him, acting as a constant, suffocating reminder of what Puss is running from. But it's in the Cave of Souls where things truly reach their emotional peak. This scene tosses back and forth between Puss's present fear and his past arrogance. Puss is confronted by the crystal reflections of his 8 past lives, all of them boasting, laughing, and acting exactly like the legend Puss used to be. And then the whistle echoes in the cave. When Death steps out of the shadows and physically shatters the crystal reflections of Puss's past lives, it is truly something very emotional. It really affects Puss back to the core of his trauma, forcing him to lose the ego he held onto his whole life. Things really start to deteriorate in emotion from those bad memories, until Puss physically cannot breathe, leading to one of the most accurate depictions of a panic attack ever put into animation. But this breakdown is exactly what Puss needed, because he realizes he has to rely on Perito and Kitty Softpaws. The terror death inflicts is the exact catalyst that makes Puss realize his final life actually matters, and that the people he loves matter more than his myth. You're starting to see something more to this villain than meets the eye. He is doing something unexpected of a character of his type. He is stripping away the hero's toxic traits so the real person underneath can finally emerge. For one of the most important things to learn about his character happens at the very end, on the wishing star. Puss has the map. He's inches away from making the wish to get his lives back, to return to his old, careless ways. But death arrives and traps him in a towering wall of hellfire, separating him from his friends. Every time you rewatch the scene, you really can't help but feel super emotional, which is something no other standard villain could ever achieve, because they are just supposed to be evil. But Death is demanding a fight to prove a point. He wants the arrogant legend. But Puss doesn't pick up his sword to fight for his past lives. He picks it up to fight for his last one. He fights with humility. He recognizes that he will never actually defeat death permanently, because no one can, but he will not surrender the life he has left. He fights alongside his friends, entirely shedding his selfish ego. It's a powerful conflict where Death has excellent chances to kill Puss. He is literally a supernatural force. But after a grueling duel, when Death disarms him, Puss stands his ground, and Death pauses. He sighs in frustration. You begin to understand that he is an honorable entity. He doesn't kill for the sake of violence. He cares for the natural order of things. He keeps an eye on the value of life rather than unnecessary harm. He drops his sickles. He lets the hero live. And you can't really say there's anything wrong with Death walking away, because he really did come through in the end. He succeeded in his mission. He killed the legend of Puss in Boots so that the actual, mortal, vulnerable cat could finally live. It's the rare win-win moment for your villain and hero, you might say. The final moment you get to see him, he looks back at Puss and Kitty and Perito, tells Puss they will meet again, and walks away into the flames. He knows what he has done for them and what Puss is truly capable of doing now that he respects his own mortality. The perfect antagonist who fought to break a hero's ego only to help him chart whatever destiny he may actually come across. Sometimes when we feel at our lowest, the biggest help may always come in the most unexpected of ways, especially if they are the bad guys of our very story. Using that villain to force a hero to value their own life was just so fantastic. And now that you have looked back upon that role, we can all forever cement a film like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish as a modern masterclass in storytelling. It reminds us that sometimes it takes facing the ultimate end to truly appreciate the journey, and that the best antagonists aren't just obstacles, they are catalysts for growth. May this caliber of good villain continue to prosper, raising the bar for every animated story to come. If this breakdown made you appreciate the movie on a deeper level, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It actually helps the channel a lot and ensures you are notified the second we find more absolute heat in the world of animation. Drop a comment below letting me know who your favorite animated villain is, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks. Good to meet you, too.